Hello, distinguished ladies, gentlemen, and other. We are the Spice Squadron, and this is episode 27, also titled The Full Set Revealing. I am your host, Reese Babb, and this is your host, James Brill. As some of you may know, over the last weekend, Star Wars Unlimited had a community reveal event. Not only was this event incredible to watch, I believe it would have been incredible to attend. Sadly, we live in the land down under. But we got the full set reveal. But it wasn't only that. We got to see packs opened. We got to see our favorite content creators hang out. And we got to see the all-new multiplayer format, Twin Suns, which we will be going through in more depth next week. But this week, my mime and I will be reviewing the last 18 cards of Set 1 and discussing the 2 new leaders of Set 2. So, shall we dive into it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we definitely should.
The Spice Squadron is going to get a real work in this episode. This is the most spoilers we've ever covered in an episode.
I believe it is.
It's going to be a bit of a long one. The second longest was 15. We've got 18 now. And oh boy, are there some bangers.
There are some absolute bangers in there. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's like, there's going to be some really interesting stuff to talk about here. This is the last we've seen. There's nothing else for Set 1, as you were saying before. And it is exciting as hell. We're going to start off with Disarm.
Do you like Jeddah City? My second question is why. But if you like Jeddah City, then you're going to love Disarm. It's a 1-cost neutral cunning card that says give a unit -4/-0 for this phase. It does exactly what Jeddah City does, but for 1 resource.
It's not bad. I think it's an interesting card that is going to...
I'm going to make a call, and I think this is one of the strongest cards in Sealed and Draft. Jeddah City is rough because you have to sacrifice 5 health on a base to do it. Taking a 30 health base in a draft and being able to stall an opponent's whole turn by giving a unit layer leader perhaps, which is one of the strongest leaders in Sealed and Draft, -4 for the turn is honestly pretty sweet. I'm just going to say, I think this is really great. This is a great investment for 1, and if you pull it and you're running yellow, pack it. This is great. This might not be a great constructed card.
Yeah.
This is certainly a card to look out for in Sealed. Yeah, of course you play an Echo-based defender. I'll pay 1 and swing into it with no repercussions.
Yeah, it is, and it also is something that can slow down those kind of aggro decks like Sabine and stuff. If you're playing mono yellow or something
giving
yellow,
K2, giving K2, like going, hey, you're K2 SO, nothing.
Absolutely.
There's nothing you can do this turn.
I think I was down on this card because I was down on Jeddah City, but I think it has a lot more, like, it's one of those things that's...
It's not my first pick, but not being tied to sacrificing 5 health means that it is a more versatile and interesting card. It's definitely not my first pick, but I will again go on record and say, I think this is one of the strongest sealed cards.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it a 3.5 out of 5 on the Spy Summoner. I think it actually sits slightly above average, mainly because it's a versatility sideboard piece that Mono Yellow can use. And Mono Yellow Hero really did need a few more versatility tools. Go check out last week where we talk about that in our tier list for heroes. But I think I'm rating this a little bit above because of Sealed a little bit. And most importantly, it's a really great versatile card if you're like, it's an awesome anti-aggro piece. And I think it really can, if you know how to use this, it can hit Sabine and can hit Leia in a way that maybe your yellow deck couldn't before. So that's what we'll move on now because I think that's really all that.
Speaking about anti-aggro pieces and probably one of the best cards that was revealed.
Yeah, this card's really
This card is insane. It is Electro Staff. It is a 2-cost neutral blue upgrade. Can't be placed on a vehicle unit. When attacked, the attacking unit gains -1/-0 for that attack.
Yeah, so when it's attached to defend, while the attached unit is defending, the attacker gets -1 attack.
Yep. So and it gives you +2/+2.
Holy crap!
This is so good, and I think this was like This is just such a good card. There's so many incredible uses. Krennic uses
Yeah.
absolutely incredibly. I once put 2 of these on a
Empress Royal
Emperor's
Guard.
Royal Guard
This
cleared
is-
Sabine's board, just trying to swing at it.
This card is ERG's best friend.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I think it's also thematic that they get the Electro Staff, I think. I'm pretty sure, or do they use Force Pikes? I can't
They use
remember.
Force Pikes,
They use
yeah.
Force Pikes. No, you're right. But this card is so good. Even there have been so many games where, because it's been a couple of days now for us, it's been a week now nearly a week since the event actually happened for us. So in the meantime, we've been testing with these cards. I gotta say, I'm really, really impressed by this. If you don't rate this card, start rating it. There have been games where I've put it on a Krennic who's been hit by like a Tarkin, and I'm just like, cool. I've got a 5/7 now with Restore 2, and when you attack him, you get -1. It almost feels like you game over your opponent.
Yeah, this is a card, like the -1 might not feel like much, but I assure
it's
you,
so good.
it's so much. And it's so
Break
hard,
points
like,
in this game
yeah.
are like huge. Like
There's a reason everything is statted how it is, and to kind of mess with that statting, even just being like +2/+2 is good, but that -1, it makes swinging
talked about
2
it.
things, even Leia is going to be like, oh, I swing 2 things into
talked
it. and I
about it
still
last
don't
week with
kill it.
ERG. Playing ERG is good. Playing it in Palpatine, it's ridiculous. Gets 1 extra health. It's an easy Sentinel. That card's already great, and then it gets +1 to its thing, and that bumps it up to a whole nother level.
Mm-hmm.
This you can do in any blue deck, and it can do it to your leader. Like, hey, 6/12 Palp.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's a fantastic card. If you're running villain blue,
If you're running blue,
run this card. It is fantastic. This on Luke, like we're talking about villain cards. In my head, I thought it was a villain card. I just remembered it's a neutral card. Put this on unit Luke. Ooh. Put this on leader Luke. Ooh.
put it on Vader.
Put this on Bendu.
Ooh, put it on Obi-Wan. Put it on any Sentinel.
Put it on literally anyone.
Put it literally.
Put this card on every single card that you have. It's good.
I'm going to give this card a 4.5 out of 5 because I think it's an incredible card. I think it's nearly a staple, but I think there are a few decks that don't run it. But if you don't rate this card, get on board because it's awesome. It's so cool. And mark my words, when we get our Magna Guard, this is going to go well with it. Next up, we've seen the art for this card.
Very nice art.
Very nice art. The hyperspace foil of this looks gorgeous. This is Swoop Racer. It's a 3-cost neutral cunning 4/3 fringe. That's it.
Yep.
It's just a
It's
nicely
just kind of a
statted,
blank,
splashable vanilla. I don't really think there's too much to say about it. It's not outstanding. It's not incredible. But it's not bad. Like, you pull this in sealed and you're like, this is a nice body. It's echo-based defender stats, but not locked to hero or villain. I mean, it's fine. I give it like a 2.5. I think it's all right.
We've got to reveal the rest of the grey cards, and it's kind of as we suspected. They're good in certain situations, but most of the time they're kind of generic and a little bit worse.
There's one
but
I actually think is pretty outstanding.
yes, that is one. There's one that is very good. But this one is decent. If you want,
alright.
this is a card that feels weird only because System Patrol Craft is a thing.
Yeah.
But the fact is, any other deck has sometimes you just need a Space Sentinel, and if you need the Space Sentinel, this is where you go.
This is a pretty good card.
This is Cerulean Freighter,
Corellian.
Freighter. I'm bad at pronouncing things.
It's the shipyard's Hans from.
Ooh. So it is a 5-cost 4/4 Sentinel in space. It is simple. It is effective,
No
and it's
aspect
something.
lock.
Yeah, no
Just
aspect
grey.
lock. And so this is the card that is going to come into decks if Space Race becomes when Space Race
Exactly.
starts to be a major
If we
thing.
see a Space Race deck, I can see a counter Space Race Han deck that uses its resources to ramp out, uses the green aspect to go wide on the ground, and then uses its rest of its things to get ahead in space, like running Outmaneuver, running Bamboozle, running Asteroid Sanctuary, running this. Like, you're playing this card and you're using your leader to ramp to it. I think this is a pretty cool card. I can see Han maybe being an anti-Space Race deck because of the tools he has. So that's maybe something to keep an eye on. But if Space Race ever becomes a real prevalent threat, it's just good to know that we have a nice sideboard option that's easy to get. I'll give it a 2.5 out of 5. I don't think it's outstanding. I think this next card is really, really cool. I actually think it's pretty underrated. This is Ewing Reinforcements. This is a 7-cost Hero Command event. It says, search the top 10 cards of your deck for up to 3 units with combined cost 7 or less and play each of them for free, and then you put the rest of the cards at the bottom of your deck in a random order. This is awesome.
Yeah, this is really cool, especially when, like, the first thought a lot of people have is combine this with stuff like You're My Only Hope.
I love it.
To kind of get it out
Turn
early, and turn 4 even.
I'm doing that. This week's gameplay. Go check it out. I play a Luke deck. I'm running this. We haven't done it yet. Fingers crossed that I get to do some shenanigans.
So yeah, this is really cool, and there's some really cool combos that you can kind of pull off with it, and some really exciting things. I think this is a really awesome card, and I think people are going to underrate it to begin with because it's just not going to be cracked yet, right? This card is a card that is going to be, where people are going to work out how to abuse it, and they're going to abuse it.
The one big thing I've said, and one thing I've seen a few people notice with this card, I've played it a couple of times, and I'm going to be honest with you, I've never not liked seeing it. I really like my 7-cost Luke unit. So I run 6 in this deck. And you might be sitting there going, 6? What do you mean? Ewing is 3 other copies of Luke. Ewing is 3 other copies of whatever other turn 7 play I want it to be. I'm never unhappy to flip an Obi-Wan. Absolutely the victory is getting this. But like even running it in, I tested a Han deck with it the other day, and being able to hit turn 7, well, like not turn 7 because you're getting it earlier, but because doing this on the turn that you flip Han, where you tap him, resource a card from your hand, flip him, swing, resource, pay 7, Ewing, and then you hit something like a Han off the top, or getting like a Falcon and then like another ground unit and another ground unit, like all that kind of stuff. It feels really good. I've never not liked seeing it because you build your decks in a way where you're going to have good units you want to play, and they're going to be in the top 10 because of how you built your deck. So
absolutely. And like pulling out, like I said, like just Falcon, Ezra, Lothal, and Surgeon.
Falcon, Ezra, R2. Like even that's nice. One of the best ones that I ever did was Falcon, Battlefield Marine, and like. I've got Han on board,
very nice.
And this is turn 4, because, you resource to 5, tap Han for 6, flip Han, swing Han to 7, and you Ewing Reinforcement. And you could in short, because I have a lot I could say about this card, but in short, I think this is great if you're running Green Hero. I think if you have a high curve deck, or even a mid curve deck, absolutely run this. If you're running yellow mid range, it's great in Leia, this is great in Luke, because it's 3 extra copies. Like, think of the best card in that deck. It's 3 extra copies of that unit. So I give this card a 4 out of 5.
Yeah, it's a very good card. Moving on to an interesting little walkie boy. This is, what is his name? Let me pull it up to my face a little closer.
Attack Pod.
Guerrilla Attack Pod. This is an interesting one. So this is a 6-cost aggression heroism. It is a 4/6 rebel vehicle walker.
Best keyword in the game.
The walker?
Yeah. There's another card with that best keyword coming up.
It has grit, and it has, when played, if a base has 15 or more damage on it, ready this unit.
This is an interesting card to me because it has a lot of connotations, and it's kind of like it's almost like an aggro hero's fire spray.
To me, this is the 2 of in Sabine that closes the game, like that finishes the game.
Because you're like,
if you have 6 resources and they haven't breached 15 health in the base, you've already lost with Sabine.
Yeah, that's true. And like, if you play this and you're at that point in contention of the game, and you play it, what are they gonna do? Swing into it? It's got grit.
Yeah. So if they swing, like, chances are they're not going to be able to do 6 damage to it. And if they are, then you can kind of tell that they can do 6. There's nothing that can do 6 damage that you're not kind of aware of already.
They could pay 8, but we'll get to that.
They'd pay 4.
They could pay 8. Pay the whole 8.
I'll work that out when we get to it.
It's an interesting card. For me, I think this is Sabine's fire spray.
Yeah, I definitely think this is a card that actually, like, I know it
Not
feels
bad.
weird that to say that it goes in Sabine when it's a 6 cost, and you're like, what do you mean? The
Why?
highest cost in Sabine is K2SO, and it's like, well, yes, the highest cost 3 of in Sabine is K2SO, but I do not mind this as a cheeky little 2 of in Sabine.
Or in your sideboard.
Or in the sideboard even, to kind of finish off those kind of more, those harder to win matchups.
Yeah, I like this card. I think it's actually pretty interesting. As I said, I think it's the hero's version of Firespray, and I think a lot of people are going to get caught off guard. Again, this is a great card in Sealed. If you're running a red hero deck in Sealed, and you get to that point where untapped units in Sealed are going to be huge. It's why I think Boba's going to be a really good leader in Sealed, is because if you manage to pull a Firespray, him, and an Overwhelming Barrage, it's over.
This in Sealed is going to be cooked.
Yeah, because you just be able to play it untapped, and chances are your opponent is not going to have the removal for it. Like, they're just going to have to sit there and be like, this is better than most legendaries in Sealed. Honestly...
wow, incredible card for Sealed, honestly.
Yeah, because it just comes in untapped, and then there's, like, literally, in most cases, there's nothing your opponent can do. Unless you listen to us and tech that Disarm. But I give it a 3. I give it a 3 out of 5. I think this is a pretty solid card. I think it's really good in 3.5. Haha, I have to edit that. 3.5. I think Sealed, it's pretty good. Constructed, it's pretty nice. It definitely goes in the decks it goes in. I actually think it's pretty wacky and Sealed for a finisher. I'd probably pick that over like an Avenger or something. We know you guys love hand discard. So there were like 3 or 4 just neutral red events left.
Oh, there was so many neutral red events
They're
left.
all really high costed, and this is one of them. This is Smoke and Cinders. It's 5 cost. It is a disaster, which is its subtype. Each player discards all but 2 cards of their choice from their hand. So you discard down to 2. This is the scene where Luke's Aunt Beru and Uncle Owen just get burnt to a crisp. Haha. But
this is the second most annoying card to play in Twin Suns.
this is hilarious in Twin Suns.
This is a card that was made for Twin Suns.
I'm running this in my Twin Suns deck.
That
this in my
is
Beta
just the
Palpatine
most
deck.
annoying card anyone could play in Twin Suns.
I'm gonna ramp early game, just so I can play this in Twin Suns and just be like, guys,
No, I guess I'm playing Cassian.
I'm one step. I'm here. I'm making the game slower so I can get one step closer to Palpatine. Because he's a big guy. This is not like
You're gonna play this, and then you're gonna play the most annoying card in.
yeah, Palpatine. This is a
Oh
card
no, I
that
wasn't talking about Palpatine.
pay 8.
That's it.
That's what I was talking about before. In Constructed, I think that you're definitely a wacky little guy if you're playing this card, because in most games, by the time I'm hitting 5, I'm either dead from Sabine, and if I'm alive from Sabine, paying 5 to make her hand go from 2 to 2 is probably not sweet. And if I'm playing against I just can't think of a deck that in Constructed isn't going to get to this turn and be like, you spent your whole turn to make me discard down to 2. Oh, cool, I discarded 2 cards, whatever. I'll just keep the 2 I was going to play this turn and draw the 2 next
Yeah,
turn.
I think this really struggles to be a card that really makes a difference.
Maybe I would like to see something in the future of like a red unit that's like whenever a card is discarded, you get to like deal 1 damage to a unit or something like that. That would be sweet, like a wheel and deal type effect. But for now, I just think this is not super crash hot. But it's interesting because I feel like it's setting up for something, and I like that. I like that they're including cards like this in set 1, because we've got a core mechanic of like, we've got, what I really like that FFG's done with set 1 is we've got the core mechanics, and we've got a couple of cards that are like sneak previews and spoilers of what we could get. We've got Mill, discard, we've got that awesome spaceship that attacks ground units. I think a lot of those mechanics in cards like this are nice cards to see kind of be like, ooh, what's for the future? Or, hey, you want to build this for your Twin Suns deck. But right now, I definitely reckon it's a 2 out of 5, and it's also a rough gig if you pull it as a rare. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think this is a really interesting card that kind of looks at kind of what could happen and what could be in the future. But at the moment, it is just kind of, why am I playing this?
Yeah.
Moving
Next
on.
up, we've got Underworld Thug.
A very generic person.
He is a 2-cost, grey, 2/3. Here he is. Incredible. He doesn't do anything, but he has the Underworld keyword, which next set, hopefully, will be the best keyword in the game.
He's a 2/3. 2-drop.
He's got 1 extra stat point than the normal allowable allotment. Please do not look at units such as C-3PO and R2. But he's fine. He's fine.
The grey cards are very generic, and that is fine. Like, having this in my sealed deck to make sure that I have a turn... Like, I'd rather this is a turn 1 play than nothing is a turn 1 play.
Yeah, he's fine.
And they said grey cards were kind of designed for draft anyway, so I completely understand that.
Look, honestly, 100%, this card's fine. It doesn't blow my mind, but it's a card that I expected, and I feel like it would be weird to not see it.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
will, however, give this guy 1 out of 5 on the Spice Order. He's just so boring. He's even grey.
Moving on to another grey card that is kind of useless.
This card is... You only think this card's useless because it ruins your plans.
I do not care if they play this.
Nah, you do.
If they're scared enough to play this, they've already lost.
I mean, at the end of the day, they can definitely just keep recycling this card against you by paying 1 and putting them all back into the deck. Then what are you going to do? Nothing. You have to watch.
Oh, mill them!
Yeah, and then they'll keep putting their decks back.
This is card from their deck.
This card is restock. It is a 1-cost grey card, and it says, choose up to 4 cards in the discard pile and put them on the bottom deck of their owner's deck at random. And it's a picture of some random lady giving some other random Twi'lek lady a pot of coffee or something.
A pot of something.
If mill is prevalent, I know James is a naysayer, but if mill is prevalent, this is probably going to be a sideboard card against mill. It won't do too much, but a lot of the time, if
you just need that one turn to kind of...
if it can buy you a turn, like, yes, a lot of the time mill decks are going to be hard control, and sometimes you're just going to be in the game where you're like, man, even with these, it sucks. But there are going to be those odd games where if you can buy yourself that turn and you can flip your power up, you can win. So maybe we'll see it, but there is not really a big mill deck in set 1.
And now I think we come to the best grey card of
Hold
the lot.
on. I give this card a 1 out of 5 as well because it has no real use right now, and the only thing is if mill gets good, you can run it. Other than that, it's weird. This card actually slaps. This is the one we were talking about. This is that Walker that we were talking about before. What is he? Tell me about him.
So he's a Frontier 80 arty. He's a 4-cost 3/5 with, while you control another vehicle, this gains ambush.
It's a vehicle. We love that.
You love that.
And he's got a good stat line. We love that. And he's
got a very good stat line for a grey card.
Yeah, he does. He really does.
And he's only 1 more cost and has the same stat line as Boba.
Now, you're probably sitting there... Yeah, that's pretty sweet. Now, you're probably sitting there and you're going, but guys, yeah, he's an ambush unit and that's great, but he's so conditional. I need to have another ground vehicle. And that's where you're wrong, pal, because it says vehicle. You can play an A-Wing and then play this and get a cool ambusher. I actually think this is a pretty good tech. If I'm building Space Race, you run 3 of these because they are so good for dealing with ground threats.
Yeah, you just kind of take out some ground threats to...
Yeah, well, you just space, like, you've got your Space Race built because you've got low-cost space, and then your opponent starts playing like, oh, I'm gonna play my Echo-based defenders. I'm gonna play my front, like my Battlefield Marines, and you go, hey, cool, pay 4, kill your Echo-based defender, and then he's still alive.
Yeah, even from the Echo-based defender.
I would actually, like, I'm not joking, I'd actively run this as a 3-cost in a Space Race deck. You can search for it with Prepare for Takeoff. It's a vehicle. It gets a bonus because you're space racing. Cool, you played Outmaneuver to tap down my space. Great. Now I get a turn to take care of your ground. Next turn, I'm going to keep doing it. Like,
I know people have really...
cool.
There's a lot of people out there who really want to build wedge decks. And I think this is a really cool card for a wedge deck. Because even if you don't have another ground vehicle, it's just it comes in as a 4/6 ambush
for 4. Like... I know that we said the grey cards were kind of mid, but I like actually, legitimately, solid card.
They were like, oh, all these great cards are mid, they're just draft fodder, and then one banger.
One card that is, I don't know if, I'm sure other people saw this, just went, man. Guys, actually, this card's pretty sweet. I remember Snow Speeder was really good when it came out. It was like a slightly better Snow Speeder.
You're not wrong.
I honestly really, really like this. And maybe I'm biased. I have nothing to be biased about. Maybe I'm just overhyping it, but I actually think this slaps. I think this is really good and sealed. I think this opens a really good avenue for Space Race where it's but I'm just going to get rushed down on the ground. Hell no, buddy. You got a 4-cost 3/5 that's probably going to 2 for on a bunch of stuff. And it's
yeah,
that's pretty
just
sweet.
removal.
You got a searchable fucking searchable guy. Give this little fella a 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5?
4 out of 5 for my little frog walker.
Moving on to a card that is interesting to me because I have not seen anybody talk about it. I'm sure there has been talk about him, but I feel like he got lost between a lot of slits that a lot of other cards to talk about.
Yeah, there were a lot of slots being filled that day, and it was boom, 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 boom.
And I feel like he got lost in it a little bit because I think is a really interesting card.
Inferno Squad, baby! Here he is, he's the last member.
Last member, and he is Gideon Husk. Is Gideon Husk, right?
Yeah, Gideon Husk. Husk. He is a 5-cost blue villain 5/5 Imperial Trooper, and when an enemy unit is defeated, give an experience token to a friendly unit. That's pretty sweet.
In a color that's all about control and removal.
And you might be thinking, oh yeah, but that's alright though, because it's only once per turn. Wrong. It's not once per turn, and it's not just locked to your turn.
And this is a fantastic next play after having just played a 4-cost Childson.
Yeah, things have to swing into it, and then you can just keep bumping up the Childson.
One day I'll go back and build my mono blue Krennic, and it's gonna be so different to any mono blue Krennic that I've played before.
Side, Hask in it. This guy's pretty sweet. Man, honestly, cool. What's your turn? Oh, well, I've got Husk on board. Overwhelming Barrage. +2/+2. Wipe your board. I'll buff this guy. 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 It's just whenever
he can buff himself.
He can. But, if you've got a wide board, and they've got a wide board, and you kill 3 things, you can just dispense 3 experience counters as you pick amongst your board. That's pretty cool.
That's very cool.
I like that a lot. I think this unit's pretty sweet. I think 5-cost 5/5. That is a nice costing. He's 2 really good keywords. Imperial Trooper, some would say the best keywords. And yeah, all in all,
I think he's a fantastic.
I think he's really overlooked.
Yeah, I found that no one was talking about him, and I was like, I think he's really good, but I'm just not
people
sure.
Should be talking about this guy. I feel like people should, but am I wrong for not? Am I wrong for talking about it? But anyway, honestly, 4 out of 5. I reckon this guy's pretty good. I reckon he's as good as the Frog Walker. Is that a compliment? Is that a dismissal? Who knows? This next card though is spoiler alert is a 5 out of 5. This card we speculated was coming.
Yep, we speculated it would be in this slot. I thought it would be a 2-cost, but I understand why it's not.
I didn't think it would be this good.
It's very good.
It is Force Lightning. It's a 1-cost Force event villain aggression. It is a legendary. It is a last red legendary.
Oh, yep.
It's not our last legendary. We still got. You choose a unit. That's all it does. It loses all abilities for this phase. That's all it does. And then if you control a Force unit, pay any number of resources and deal 2 damage to the chosen unit for each resource paid this way.
There are 2 cards that this is
hilarious
just
against.
absolutely
so funny.
Goodbye. Namely, that is K2SO.
That's a really good one because you no longer take any damage. Cheering. Nice leader loser. Pay 4. He's dead. Which means you essentially negate Chirrut's front and back sides. Which means the leader doesn't do anything. This is Chirrut's worst nightmare.
Rough gig for
You're a
Chirrut.
Chirrut player and you sit down, you're like, are you playing red villain? And they go, yeah. And you're like, do you have force on there? Yeah. And you're like, oh.
You have to,
Can I swap decks?
like, even if you make them never, like, you're like, I'm going to clear every single force unit that you play, they can still just pay 1 and negate your ability for the turn.
All jokes aside, though, not just against Chirrut. All jokes aside, nice Obi-Wan Kenobi.
It's just very good.
Nice Obi-Wan Kenobi, pay 4, he's dead. Nice Leia leader, pay 4, she's dead. Nice Cassian leader, pay 4, he's dead. Just being able to pay 4 and deal 6 damage when you have to pay 3 and deal 4, usually on an open fire, detrimental. And what's your prerequisite? 5th brother.
You only have to pay 6 to kill Palpatine.
I can confirm that. That feels really bad when it happens to you. That has happened to me.
Someone just paid 6 and killed Palpatine?
No, they paid 5 because they used one of the next cards we're going to be talking about. Because I saw them and was like, okay, they could have a Force Lightning here. I'm going to big brain them and do this and wait for them to do it. And he did. And I was like, oh, I've got him. I'm a genius. And I flipped Palpatine. And he was like, tap this card, pay the rest of my resources, kill Palpatine. And I was like, yeah, definitely forgot. Definitely forgot about that.
I think I know exactly who you're talking about.
Force Lightning is incredible. It's so versatile, being able to negate abilities, and being able to have selective damage on a stick in a game where ramp decks are highly prevalent and force units are never ending is really, really good. Really good, in fact, that it's so good it's a 5 out of 5 on the Spice Squadron. This is an incredible card. The art's incredible. I cannot stress to you guys enough. If you're in the Discord, please go to the preview channel and scroll up until a preview discussion and scroll up until you find the foil hyperspace version of this card. Oh my god.
It looks very pretty.
It's incredible. 5 out of 5. Literally incredible card.
And now we've come to the final legendary
In the whole set.
in the whole set, and it is the simplest legendary.
This is what
The
we-
most elegant legendary.
This is all we've been saying. When I say pay 8, this is what I mean.
The finale. Legendary.
The piece of the resistance. Remember that?
It's the DJ beat drop, baby.
It's the DJ beat drop. Remember that time when Saw Gerrera Extremist did extremist things, and Krennic went, "I'm going to waste taxpayer money right now," and he shot the worst base in the game, Jeddah City, with the beat drop.
With the beat drop.
It's Super Laser Blast. It's a disaster tactic.
Disaster. I love it.
I can't wait for us to get a card that searches disaster. That's going to be hilarious.
It's going to be like fortune teller.
Surely we get an event called the Clone...
Soothsayer searches disasters.
Surely we get a card that's like Begun the Clone Wars has, and it's just disaster. It's just
Order 66.
Anyway, enough about that. This card is an 8-cost blue villain disaster tactic, and it says...
Defeat all units.
What's it say?
Defeat all units.
Surely there's more to it than that.
No.
Oh, but I've got my board out.
Uh-huh.
And is that?
Yeah. This is the funnest card to play in any Twin Suns game.
It is.
Everybody loves a board wipe.
And then follow it up. If
We got a board wipe, baby.
this is the card that I wait for, because I want someone to play this in Twin Suns so I can follow it up and make everyone discard down to 2. Because this game is never going to stop. Because I love Twin Suns.
And I want to talk, just for a second, I want to talk how well costed this card is.
Oh, yeah.
It is hard to cost a card like this. And it's hard to decide where a card... Everyone knew a board wipe was coming.
Yeah.
Everyone knew what was happening.
Yeah.
It's very hard to kind of cost this accurately, because if you cost it too low, it's busted. If you cost it too high, it's useless. I think this card is perfectly costed.
8's great. 8's easy to ramp to, but not too easy to ramp to.
Mm-hmm.
It feels rewarding. It's great in Palpatine mirror matches. It's great in Control. It's a little odd to me that Villain gets all the board wipes. I mean, it's not odd, but kind of sucks.
You'll get one eventually.
Eventually. This card's awesome, and I do like the fact that James, as soon as he saw it, texted me a picture of this and the Death Star DJ, and he was like, he released a new album. So he's beat dropped. His EP is out, and his EP kills you because it goes so hard.
It goes so hard.
I actually really like this card. It was bound to happen.
Art's beautiful.
Art's beautiful.
I want to see the hyperspace foil. I have not seen it. I have not seen...
Pretty sure someone posted a picture on Twitter, and I spent like an hour trying to find it for you and couldn't because I didn't want to scroll through Twitter anymore.
But I am very keen to pull the hyperspace foil version of Super Laser Blast.
Fingers crossed. For those of you who don't know, in 2 weeks' time, 3 weeks' time, an amount of weeks' time, we'll be doing a live stream and we'll be opening 10 boxes.
3 weeks' time.
3 weeks' time, we'll be doing a live stream.
3 weeks' time, today our time.
Today our time.
The video.
We'll be doing a
right
live
now
stream.
In 3 weeks. Right this very second, in 3
3
weeks, we'll have every single one of our boxes opened for you guys.
Yep, we're going to do a live stream. We're going to show you guys what we get. It's going to be a hell of a good time.
Yep.
We're so excited. Please tune in.
Excited.
I give it a 4 out of 5. I think it's so good. I think it's solid. I think it's fun. I think it's great. I think it's thematic, and I think it's well costed for a board wipe.
Yep.
This card I saw first, and you saw first, and we both went, interesting. And then you were like, it's fine. And then I corrected you on something, and you went, oh my god, this card's sneak attack. This is a trick. Awesome.
Very cool.
Searchable with Jabba.
Yep.
Cost 1 with Jabba.
This makes Jabba a lot better.
This makes Jabba so good. Play a unit from your hand. It costs 3 less and enters play ready at the start of your regroup phase. Defeat it.
I think the one kind of play that Reese told me about that made this card maybe like, oh, there's shenanigans with this card is in yellow, red, Grand Inquisitor, turn 1, tap 2, play this, play a fifth brother readied, swing for 3 at base, activate Grand Inquisitor, untap Big Brother,
swing for 5. He is now. Swing for 5.
Swings for 5.
Turn 1, 8 damage. Turn 1, 8 damage. You're in a villain matchup and you're playing Yellow Boba and your opponent decides to play Viper Pro Droid so they can see your hand, which consists of this and Death Star DJ. So you pay 2, play DJ, kill their Pro Droid, and ramp, and then next turn you play 3 and resupply, and you got yourself a turn 2 Boba Fett.
I think this is a really cool card.
This is awesome.
I think this is a really awesome card, and I think this is going to be a card that finds its way into some absolute shenanigans.
I actually believe that Yellow Red Inquisitor runs this as a 3-0 because there have been a lot of turns where even mid to late game, I've been playing against someone, I'm like, I've got a good control of this, and they go, Fifth Brother, and I go, oh crap. Like, god.
Being able to play Fifth Brother readied is wild.
Yeah, it feels really bad when they swing into something and kill it, swing with Grand Inquisitor, untap it, and then either hit your base or hit another unit, and you've been 2 for 1 for 2, or you've lost something and then you've basically taken like 12 damage, and you're like, how did this happen? And your opponent just goes, I just paid 2.
Yeah. And
you're like, what? Because I legitimately think that with some of the new cards shown off here, Yellow Red Inquisitor got a lot better. Way better. I actually rate this card pretty high. I'm going to give it a 3.5 out of 5. I think it's pretty solid. I think don't underrate this card. I think it's a trick.
I'm surprised you're putting it that low.
Really?
I think this card is...
That's a 4 out of 5.
I think this card is going to be absolutely incredible, and I think there's going to be... I think the most broken thing this card can do hasn't been worked out yet.
Well, I'll give it... you know what? I'll settle with that. I'll put it on a 4 out of 5. I agree with that. I don't think the most broken thing this is... And I think one thing with this card that's really interesting is every single time that we get a really good on attack from here on out, people are going to come back to this card and be all like, Well, I can use that on attack immediately.
Yeah, and maybe you just make it better. Maybe just make it better by paying one less for it.
But making it true.
Maybe I could pay it better by paying one less for it with a 2 cost.
I don't mind paying 2 and playing a fleet lieutenant ready to swing with my leader, to swing with the fleet. Like that, you can get so much value out of this in a yellow layer mid-range deck, because you pay 2, play fleet lieutenant, swing your layer, swing this fleet lieutenant into something in trade, up with it. Like that's sweet.
I was actually talking about the next card that we're going to be talking about.
Oh yeah, I love this card.
And
we
paying it, and
we saw the art
a long time ago.
De Wanawanga! It's Bib Fortuna, baby!
Hell yeah, he's a 2-cost cunning villain, and he is 1/3 Underworld.
He's shielded too. He's Underworld, Twi'lek, and he's
Twi'lek.
shielded.
He's shielded, and he has the ability, action, tap him, play an event, reducing its cost by 1.
We have Alliance Dispatcher,
We do.
and we have Bib Fortuna.
Yeah.
Bib is incredible.
Bib is the better unit, but Dispatcher is the more versatile unit. And I think that is a really interesting dynamic that they have.
Bib is incredible.
Bib is absolutely incredible. Bib is very, very, very good.
I think Bib is better than Alliance Dispatcher. I think Bib's better than Alliance Dispatcher because he's got an extra point. He's got shielded. And there are a lot of events that people want to play at a cheaper cost. You can play a free Force Choke with him if you have a 5th brother out, because you pay one, it's free. You can reduce the cost. So this is exactly what I was talking about. My Palpatine died because I was like, oh, I'm so smart, I'm going to big brain it. He's tapped his resources now so I can flip Palpatine. And he goes, tap Bib.
Play free Force Choke, pay 5, deal 10.
Yeah, Force Lightning just killed Pal.
Sorry,
it was a Mace Windu moment where I was like, unlimited power, and then I just got deflected right back in my old man face.
Yeah.
Shielded on a 1/3, so annoying to deal with.
So annoying to deal
So
with.
annoying.
I honestly think with this, with a couple of other cards that have come out, possibly even Disarm, I think going back and looking at Thrawn is actually a huge thing that could be possible. And I think maybe with these cards in a more event-centric control deck,
This card.
even running Thrawn yellow-red, running Force Lightning,
No,
running...
this card is run in the Grand Inquisitor deck as a turn 1 play, and it is legitimately incredible. Like, you have no idea how awful it is for a turn where they're like, okay, cool, Force Choke, and you're like, all right, god damn it, and they go swing, untap, ping the shit off him, a Force Choke, and you're like, my board's dead, and they go, got ya, and Bib is just chilling, he's just hanging out.
Free for even if you're starting to put things in like keep fighting for 1.
Free shoot first
Is
were
free-
free shoot first were good with Jabba.
Mm-hmm.
This is a free shoot first on the turn you want to see it with Boba.
Yeah,
This is great.
Bib Fortuna is a fantastic card.
Yeah, I rate Bib 4.5 out of 5. I actually think that Bib is a mono yellow. I think Bib is a villain yellow staple. I think you put 3 of him into the deck.
Oh, absolutely.
Because he's a 1/3 shielded, which is already really good.
Yeah.
And then most yellow decks are really event heavy. And just being able to give yourself that extra breathing room in a turn where you're like, I want to do both things, but I'm 1 resource short. Here he is, Day Wanawanga. He's going to make it happen, baby. Yep.
What do we want? High cost neutral red events that are kind of bad.
When do we want it? Now. This card is Forced Surrender. This is when Newt Gunray, extremist, is apprehended by Amidala's body double in the Naboo Palace in Phantom Menace, and it says draw 2 cards. It's a 6-cost neutral aggression. Draw 2 cards, and then each opponent whose base you've damaged this phase discards 2 cards from their hands.
So you only need 11 resources to discard your opponent's entire hand.
This is actually not a bad follow-up play in Twin Suns. where you go to 5. I go to 2, everyone, and they go, okay. And the next turn, you go, haha. Got him. Gotcha.
As long as you have Sabine, so you ping everybody's base for
Oh,
one,
yeah.
and then you play this.
And then you play that, yeah. All I gotta say is Newt Gunray is an extremist, and his views do not represent.
I think
that of
honestly,
the
this is a genuinely good card in Twin Suns.
Oh, yeah.
When you're playing Sabine,
This
to
guy's
ping
awesome.
everybody and then make them all
This guy's-
discard 2 cards
this
and draw
guy's
2
so
cards.
good.
In Constructed,
Once again, it is a rough card.
it is.
There's just no right now, because when I see this and when I think Burn to Cinders, I go, these are cards for a deck that we haven't seen.
Yeah.
I think there's definitely gonna, like they've said, we're gonna see a discard deck. I reckon that this, I think that we're definitely gonna get a unit one day that's like, whenever your opponent discards a card from their hand, deal 1 damage to their base. And then you're gonna get some really gritty, gross yellow-red decks where they use cards like this. Burn to Cinders, play this.
Yeah.
I'll draw 2. You discard 2 because I pinged your base. I spark a rebellion. You like. It's all good. It's gonna come together. We're gonna see a hand discard deck like this. And one thing for those of you out there who are like, oh, but it's like I don't want to play against hand discard. If this is how it goes, the curve of that deck is pretty high end, right? Mm-hmm. Like a lot of that low hand discard is not so bad. Then we get to the big stuff, and that's a lot of the late game high curve stuff. With a lot of the problem people have with hand discard decks, it's a lot of low cost. It's a lot of low cost. Discard your hands in the early game. They're 1-for-1ing you cards, and then by the end of it, they're maybe getting a few more, like a bit more value out because they're 1-for-1ing you, but then they start playing stuff as well, and you can't. So, well, in a game like this, the bell curve kind of just it'll eventually come back around, but it's a bit higher than usual, which means you do have a lot of like breathing room. So there's definitely a deck for this. It's just not out yet. Yeah. I give it like a 2 out of 5. I think 6 is a rough cost. In set 1, it's a 2 out of 5. Later on, who knows?
Now moving on to our last card. The last card that we'll be revealing, and that is the only kind of board wipe that heroes get.
Well, villain gets a 2.
Yeah, villain gets a 2.
This is Bombing Run.
It's Bombing Run.
It's a tactic. This is a card a lot of people thought.
Oh, sorry. Okay, so I forgot to continue there. What do we want?
Weirdly overcosted red neutral events.
Where do we want them?
No!
Yay! Anyway.
This is a 5-cost tactic. This is a card a lot of people thought we'd see.
Oh, yeah.
Most people in the community were like, I'd be weird to not see this. It's choose an arena, ground or space, similar to outmaneuver, and you deal 3 damage to each unit in that arena. Yeah? Like, I don't know. It's interesting. I think if I'm playing a red-yellow Han space race deck, I'd probably run this.
Yeah.
Because you can Walker, and then you can trade into the Walker double time, and then play this the next turn, so it's not so bad.
I think there's definitely some interesting ways that you can play this, and I definitely think it goes in some decks. I think it's pretty self-explanatory what it does, and I think 3 is a really good break point, especially against something like Sabine, being able to get to... Like, if you're playing against Sabine, I think this is a reds out to Sabine sometimes, when you can just be like, 3 to everything, please.
The problem with that for me is you got to make it to 5 resources without being at that point in the game where you're
you kind of just lose anyway against
Sabine. So I think it's pretty solid, but it's also one of those ones where it's like, ugh, like if you see it when you see it and need it, it's going to be insane. But in like some matchups like Sabine, if you see it when you need it, dope. But if you're at that point, you're in a safe position at turn 5 against Sabine, turn 4 against Sabine. You've probably done something right.
But it is something that can secure that victory against Sabine. It can kind of clear out a lot of like the remaining damage that's there.
Once again, this is sweet and sealed, and this is sweet in Twin Suns.
Yes.
Like this is a pretty great sealed card, and this is an awesome Twin Suns card. But in Constructed, it just fits in that weird, awkward spot where if this was 4, it would probably be too good. If this was 6, it would be awful.
Yeah.
It's hit 5, so it's not bad. I'd give it like 3.5 because I am leaning a little bit more to the fact that it's nice that I can run a board wipe in my mid-range hero decks. Because if I can focus on trading out early against a Sabine, I can live long enough to get to this and stabilize, which I think is a really nice ray of hope that some decks needed. So that's Yeah, three
We're
and a
going to
half
talk
out of
about one more thing before we wrap this up today,
Yeah.
and that is at the end of the community stream, we got a really nice reveal,
Yes.
and that was that we are going to get a 2-player starter set for set 2 as
2.
well, and they revealed the leaders to us.
They are
and
awesome. They are so cool. Here they are.
It is
Moff Gideon,
and
the Mando. Woo!
The Mandalorian,
So
Pedro
cool.
Pascal.
There were a lot of people theorizing that set 2 was going to have the Mando in it and Book of Boba and stuff like that. I mean, Book of Boba's not confirmed yet, but
You assume it's essentially Mandalorian
because
season.
it's Outer Rim. Is
Yeah.
that we know it's Shadows of the Galaxy. It's the Outer Rim theme. It's probably where we're going to see Jabba the leader and stuff like that. And I think they did a really strong start with 2 honestly incredible characters that people adore, myself included.
Absolutely.
It's going to be so sweet. Now, I want to, just before we go, I want to have a bit of speculation about this. I'm going to put some bets down. I don't know anything about these leaders, but we've had a blue and a red, which means Moff Gideon's going to be green. He's going to be a green villain. And Mando's going to be a yellow hero.
Yeah, to us, it just kind of makes sense as that they would flip the leaders. Therefore, in set 2, we'd have even leaders across the board.
I think it's going to be blue-green villain and red-yellow hero.
Yeah. I think that'd be really interesting, and I think that's going to be a really fun thing to look forward to as we move along. But we are not over set 1 yet. I'm not ready for set 2 spoilers yet at all.
There was a nice surprise, but I'm still in set 1. Like I need it. I haven't even got my cards yet. I don't set 2 is set. It's so bad. I need somebody send me a booster pack now. I know I know you went to the event. I know you're watching this. I'll give you my address. Just send me a booster pack. But I need set 1. I can't even they were set 2 stuff. I'm like, oh, that's really cool. I need my boosters. I need my packs. I need my Spark of Rebellion. I need it now.
We are very excited for the release, which is the pre-releases are going to be 2 weeks away.
It's too
as
far.
of our first pre-release is 2 weeks and 1 day away as of recording, and I am not sure Reese will make it. He may spontaneously combust.
I can't do it, man. I need my cards, man. I barely got through this week. It's just, look.
And with that, thank you very much for watching. Please check out the gameplay and check out our other podcasts. Have a fantastic day.
Bye.